Good evening and welcome. Let's take a look at our top story. China is all set to hold its annual Congress, or the 2 sessions, on Friday. It is the biggest political gathering of the year in China, and President Xi Jinping will be using the occasion to project strength as he deals with the biggest challenge of his presidency. Ahead of the Congress, the Chinese Communist Party's National Committee convened for an opening ceremony. Xi Jinping presided over the largely ceremonial gathering, which consists of the party's top advisors. They observed a minute of silence for the victims of COVID-19. For the annual Congress, 3,000 delegates will be descending on Beijing tomorrow from all 31 provinces of China. They will take part in the annual meeting of the National People's Congress, which is the legislative body in China. The most important thing to know about this meeting is that it is heavily choreographed. The delegates are hand-picked members of the Communist Party, and their role is to merely rubber stamp the new bills and proposals. So here's what you can expect tomorrow. President Xi Jinping will declare complete victory in the people's war over COVID-19. The idea is to project normalcy to the world and to show that it is business as usual. Premier Li Keqiang will be presenting the annual report, where he will set China's new economic growth targets. A financial stimulus package is also expected. And there are also reports that China could revise its animal epidemic law. After a global backlash against China over its wet markets and exotic animal trade, a vote is expected on China's first ever civil code, which will formalize property and personal rights. It is said to be part of President Xi's plan to reform the legal system. This civil code is expected to reform the divorce process in China and define the privacy rights of Chinese citizens. It is also expected to expand its definition of sexual harassment to include being groped or assaulted in the workplace or on campus. Ahead of the national conference, the chief political decision-making body is trying to get its political priorities right. The chairman of the Chinese People's Political Consultative Conference, Wang Yang, has proposed that China must actively pursue and pressure the one country, two systems policy in both Hong Kong and Taiwan. This attempt to improve its political standing in the two self-ruled city-states is likely to be met with resistance. There is unrest and strong opposition to China at the Hong Kong Parliament, where China is seeking to clear controversial bills. In Taiwan, the President Tsai Ing-wen has bluntly said no to the one country, two systems policy during her inaugural presidential speech. For the first time since 1992, China's economy has contracted in the first quarter, but the country is looking to push back against its critics, especially the United States, responding to growing calls for foreign manufacturers to exit China. Beijing said that political power cannot change economic laws.
In the face of the epidemic, it is neither realistic nor wise to artificially cut off the global industrial chain, to change the economic rules with political power, or even to advocate transfer and decoupling. It will not help solve the problems faced by the United States.
This year's Congress is expected to be quite different from the ones that we are used to seeing. For starters, it was postponed from March to the 22nd of May due to the COVID-19 outbreak. The Assembly normally goes on for 14 days. Now, this time around, it will wind up after just 7 days. All delegates have been in quarantine for 14 days and have been tested for COVID-19. Non-delegates and journalists have been asked to follow the meetings on a video link, and reports indicate that the top government officials will be holding fewer press conferences this time around. Now, earlier we spoke to our Beijing correspondent Patrick Fock, and he has sent us this report.
Well, it has been really a remarkable start to the CPPCC. Normally we expect open skies for this event, but there's been a bit of a storm brewing and a lot of heavy rain. It stopped momentarily so that we can do this, in fact. Normally, as I say, the skies are clear, and it's often affectionately known by people here in Beijing as the Twin Sessions Blue. Of course, the event has been postponed by around 2.5 months because of the coronavirus outbreak. Discussions about COVID-19 are likely to permeate through all the discussions in the coming days. There has been a lot of talk about a global inquiry, particularly earlier this week at the World Health Assembly. There are actually quite a few voices within China that have been calling for an investigation into the outbreak among scholars and activists and other groups within China as well. But we are told that that is unlikely to happen. However, there is going to be a lot of debate about China's response and also a lot of discussion about how China is going to stage an economic recovery. One other key item that is on the agenda this week at the CPPCC level is discussions about a new civil code that is set to replace a lot of the laws which govern the way people in China live. They are going to include new laws or new code about marriage, divorce, things like property ownership, tort, and even organ donation. So it really covers a wide a variety of aspects of life in China. And this is an important and comprehensive bit of work that is going to be talked about in the coming days. And really it's, according to officials, designed to integrate core socialist values into civil law and is essentially really to try and better the lives of China's 1.4 billion people.